What is up, YouTube? Welcome to today's video, and I bring to you one of my absolute favorite skills that I've played in a while, and it is Blade Vortex. This also happens to be one of my best builds of all time. Okay, so the build didn't really turn out to be exactly the way I wanted, purely because this new Ascendancy node that GGG added into the game, they did not play test. I am positive that no one really uses this Ascendancy node. We're going to go over exactly what this Ascendancy node is, and then we're going to go over the build I tried out, some of the stuff I learned, and why Pathfinder is probably only going to be an Ascendancy choice for people who play Chaos skills. Now, I was too lazy, I admit it. I do not like the campaign. A lot of people don't like the campaign. I think a lot of people would pay money to skip the campaign, and myself included, of course. So I was too lazy to play through the campaign, so I wanted to make a Blade Vortex character. So I decided, what should I do? And I decided I was going to try to make a Magic Find Blade Vortex Pathfinder. Now, I bought a premiered copy of the 12-link wand. Usually the mirror fee, I think, is around like 200 divines or 180 divines. So this 12-link wand has a bunch of stuff on it, and it is quite a joy to play with because it's so flexible. You can play so many different skills, any fizz skills. So what it does, it has increased crit strikes, crit damage, cold pen, socketed spells deal 40% more damage. And also has +2 level of support gems and 5% chance to deal double damage. And on top of that, it also has +2 socketed spell gems here. It also has 60% crit multi, because this doesn't apply to your crit chance for the spell. And then it has level 10 Arcane Surge and level 10 Culling Strike. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. And this link right here, 40% more damage, doesn't really get counted, right? So we have total of around 12 links total for Blade Vortex. So, but the main reason why I decided to go this variant is because Shield Charge is really, really amazing. I know a lot of people say the Rampage bow is so nice. However, there's an easy way to get Rampage that I'm going to tell everyone. And also, Shield Charge is literally unbeatable. I do not think that you could really find a way to get the same Shield Charge speed as you would, because builds with no movement speed and no spammable movement skill feel really, really terrible to play. And I did spend all day trying to fix this Blade Vortex character. I spent 4 hours trying to buy all the gear, and then I realized all my hopes and dreams were shattered because of this one Ascendancy node. So the Pathfinder rework happened last patch, so GGG reworked Pathfinder, and a lot of people labeled the Ascendancy as useless before. They even nerfed that one node that people gained life back when they used the flash charge. Now, Master Surgeon is a great solution to using Divination Distillate without Petrified Blood. However, in this scenario, Petrified Blood is actually huge for the build because of the stun jewels. And the stun jewels make it so that Master Surgeon is not really needed. Now, Nature's Reprisal got changed so that Pathfinder is now the premier Chaos skill, Clear Speed Ascendancy. So what you can see here is that Nature's Reprisal gives you 50% increased effective Wither. And then it has the 25% chance to apply it on hit. So you're doing a lot of chaos damage. People play Pathfinder for the Bow Explode totem build because you're able to pro-lift the poison with Master Toxicist. And that allows you to get a clear speed that's pretty nice and that you normally wouldn't be able to because the Totem Explode build uses mines or traps, I think. However, one of the nodes on Pathfinder, Veteran Boyer, got changed over to Master Distiller. You can see right here, removed Veteran Boyer and added Master Distiller. And Master Distiller is hands down one of the worst nodes to ever be designed. Now, Master Distiller sounds great on paper. It grants you 150% increased critical strike chance, 20% elemental penetration, and 25% of physical damage as extra chaos damage. Now, you only gain these bonuses by consuming 3 charges from either a diamond, bismuth, and amethyst flask. However, you will consume these charges every single time you cast a skill, and it empowers that skill. Now, I was dumb, I admit it. I didn't read the Ascendancy correctly. So, if you read it right here, it says, grants bonuses to non-channeling skills you use by consuming 3 charges from a flask. So, I didn't really think about it too much. I just thought that, oh, I would consume 3 flash charges and I would get these, get this buff, right? that would grant me 150% crit chance or 20% Ellie pen, whatever. However, I was completely wrong. Every single time you use a skill, you will see that your flash charges get used. So right now, all my flash charges are full. So usually you shield charge around the map. You can see all my flash charges are disappearing before my eye. I cast a little bit more Blade Vortex. I have no flash charges. And it's not like I'm even doing that much. I'm just shield charging around the map. And no matter what, even if you're killing a lot of mobs, it is near impossible to sustain all these charges because you just use so many skills while mapping. Now, a lot of people mentioned in my chat that this node was just not tested. They did not try it out at all. It was impossible to play the build. And the only way you could really play the build, in my opinion, is if you cast like Blade Vortex or some skill like 3 times and just walk around the map and never use a movement skill or never spam any sort of Flame Dash or Frost Blink on cooldown. And it's just some ridiculous playstyle that's probably super, super niche that would only apply if your build had a bunch of movement speed and you never needed to cast a skill. And you end up playing the entire map with no flasks unless you play... Yeah, I mean, I just played the entire map. I never got any flash charges back. Or I couldn't sustain it because I was always spamming shield charge. Now, as you can see here on PoE Ninja for the Pathfinder Ascendancy, you can see Master Distiller has 0.4% of players using it. And it is literally because the node just does not work in how Path of Exile is designed, in my opinion. The node needs to have some sort of internal cooldown and provide a temporary buff. So maybe it says it tries to use the flasks every second, and it provides you this temporary buff for a second, and it has an internal cooldown to it. So you can't just spam your skill and immediately lose all your flash charges forever. The implications for this ascendancy point is very, very limited. Maybe they did think about it. I'm not 100% sure. So let me know down in the comments below if you actually think they thought it through when they introduced this node. Now, I'm just going to go over my character real fast that I tried out because there are a lot of different interesting things that I chose. And maybe you could try out the build. It's probably way too expensive and very, very niche, right? So I kind of got tired of playing Magic Find Lightning Arrow, and I wanted to play Blade Vortex again because it's really, really pretty. So basically, we're using the 12-link wand with Squire, and some nice tech that I found was that you can get this thing 100% chance to avoid being shocked, and if you combine it over with Storm Shroud, it actually gets you ailment immunity. So super, super nice. Heat Shiver we're still going to be using because I think the damage is really unbeatable, and damage is equivalent to quant. And rarity is honestly not that great anymore with how many uniques are really not worth that much money. So I kind of bypassed the whole rarity helm that everyone used. Now we use a +1 level Gems Greed's Embrace to get that Enlighten. So Enlighten becomes level 5. So this is very, very important in order to get the auras to work. Now +1 Enlighten or +1 level of Gems Greed's Embrace actually ran me, I think, around 20 Divines because it's just so important to run those auras. Now, I did have to use 2 Ventor's Gamble because the resist was just such a big issue, as I am not able to run Purity of Elements. When you play a Spellcaster, you kind of have to run Hatred, and you have to run Zealotry. So that's one of the biggest differences between bow build and the casters, is that you kind of need the auras to run to do damage. Now, for like movement skill-wise, you can see this character is very, very slow, especially when we don't have any sort of movement speed. We're able to kind of bypass that by using Shield Charge. I link it to faster attacks and Blood Rage Enhanced, right? So using all of this, our Shield Charge is actually pretty zoomy, and then this really makes up for not having any sort of movement speed. So if you ever play a build with no movement speed, make sure you have some way to either Shield Charge or Leap Slam. It makes a huge, huge difference. Now, a lot of people are saying, oh, where's the Explode on the build? I am trying to use the Flasks. Now, the Flask does work out pretty well with the Pathfinder nodes because you have a lot of Flask effect, and with Flask effect, this Explode does go up to like 40% chance or so, or 40-50% chance. So it is very, very kind of nice and consistent. However, the downside is that it's a random elemental damage, so it's not always going to be cold damage, so the Explode is not going to be as good as a Fizz conversion with Hatred. Now, we are still running a Gold Flask, and then Progenesis I do combine with Petrified Blood. And I actually tried out a lot of different combos, and I felt like the best way to end up surviving after I tinkered with it a little bit was to use Immutable Force again and Blood Notch. And in this case, we're not running any sort of Grace. And we did get 30% recoup here, 12 plus 18%. It's kind of a little bit of a waste of nodes. However, you do get a lot of damage back through 25% more spell damage if you've been stunned while casting recently. Now, a lot of people asked me about, let me just run a really fast little map. Let's hope I don't really die. So, what is the cemetery map I have? But basically, a lot of people wonder, how do you actually get Rampage? And I think this is actually a pretty important, important tech that people don't really know about. And it kind of makes the bow Rampage a little bit useless. So what you have to do is you start the map out. And what's nice is that you actually... So when you weapon swap with Sinvicta, so that's the axe, or whatever it's called. So right now you see we have a Vol Blade Vortex. So what you do is you cast Vol Blade Vortex, and then you weapon swap. And the weapon swap, it will keep on the, the Vol Blade Vortex, because it's a duration tag. This also works with Vol Lightning Arrow. And what you'll notice is that we actually have Rampage, right? The Rampage counter is up here. And yeah, I mean, basically, that's a nice little demonstration of the build. So it's not very good, right? I mean, it was meant for party play, but I just wanted to introduce to you some of the little techs I found while trying out the build. But weapon swap Rampage is really, really good. And you could even do it with Vol Lightning Arrow, because as long as your skill has like some sort of duration to it, it will still persist even after you weapon swap. Now, overall, I don't think anyone actually play tested this new Ascendancy node. I will probably swap my character over to Raider, as if you look at my Ascendancy right now, it is a complete troll. Like, oh wait, that's probably why I was dying, because I have Master Distiller on. But as you can see, it is a complete troll. I literally have 2 nodes, and I don't even need these nodes. I have 2 magic flash, right? This is a complete disaster. Probably one of the worst build concepts I put together in a while. But it does work in a party play. It's very, very good for rarity. Oh yeah, one last thing was that I was using this interesting thing, Elegant Hubris and Thread of Hope Massive here. And we're getting crit chance. You get rarity here. So 80% rarity, 120% rarity on this jewel. So kind of a nice little tech. Then this tree actually just looks like a bunch of random Venn diagrams. So we have Unnatural Instinct there. So I just wanted to make this video, try to introduce you to one of the worst nodes I've ever seen. I think they really need to kind of overhaul the node or do something about it. And the Stun Jewel with Petrified Blood and the Caster Mastery for 25% more, damage. If you've been stunned while casting recently, it's kind of crazy. If you pair it with Petrified Blood and the Caster Mastery, that's already 55% more damage. And it's kind of really unbeatable. However, I do think that Bow Magic Find is actually the best by far. And Blade Vortex is fun to play with explosions. Another thing that's kind of underrated is that the bow build doesn't actually use any explosions, and you can link the bow skill to item rarity, and you can't really link like the Fizz Explode or the Flask Explode to any sort of item rarity, so it kind of just makes it kind of a scuffed Magic Finder. But let me know down in the comments below if you've tried out using Master Distiller and had any sort of success with it. And if you've actually been playing Blade Vortex Magic Find and have been enjoying it. But thanks for watching, everyone. I hope you find more Mirrors, Divines, and Mage Bloods than me. And see you next time. Bye.